Trump just pulled off something nobody expected. He gave Iran and Israel a 12-hour window to stand down. Iran agreed to go first. Israel will follow. For a moment, it looked like the peace might actually hold. Then rockets start flying, y'all. Not from Iran's government, but from smaller groups acting on their own. And just like that, the media ignored the facts and blamed Trump for it all. Now, here's Trump himself calling it out. Only how Trump does it.
You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Boom. Mic drop. With the walk-off. Yeah, man, he said it plain. They don't know what the beep they're doing. He's not talking about himself, man. He's not talking about, he's talking about the nonstop fighting between Israel and Iran. And the truth is, he gave them a chance to stop it. He didn't promise a perfect outcome. He can't do that. He gave them the window. What they did with it, that's on them. So why is the media trying to act like he failed just because they didn't follow through? Then you got CNN tried to twist the whole situation into some reckless move. But Trump had something to say about fake media.
Did you get to speak with the Prime Minister? Did you talk to Prime Minister Netanyahu last night?
I speak to everybody.
You urge both sides not to violate the ceasefire, but reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. Yeah, I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay? I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean.
Of course.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
That's my president. That's my president, man. He did not hold back talking about legacy media and the lies that comes from fake news, especially zeroed in on CNN and MSNBC, as he calls it. I call it MSNBS. You know, I can appreciate this, and he laid out the simple facts. After the statement that he made and posted on Truth, we can see that that wasn't necessarily a pause, not a perfect piece, but hopefully things are slowing down. And, you know, I'm just happy he didn't launch more chaos. It seems like he bought time. But even CNN, their own guest confirmed it. Their own expert.
Against it. And certainly right now, Aaron, the Iran saying that their retaliation is going to continue and that their retaliation, if anything, is going to become more intense. Of course, one of the things that we heard is that the Iranians believe that they are in a conflict both with Israel and the United States, feeling that Israel has dragged the United States into a conflict directly with Iran, Aaron.
All right, Fred Pleitgen, thank you so much. Of course, the literal eyes and ears on the ground to hear those explosions. I want to go now to Barak Ravid, our political and global affairs analyst. Also joining us, of course, retired General Mark Kimmett, former Assistant Secretary of State. He oversaw policy here in the Middle East. And here with me in the UAE, along the Strait of Hormuz, Paula Huancox, our correspondent, who knows this region better than anyone. Barak, I just want to start with you, though. I know you have some new reporting. What are you learning right now?
Ooh, watch this, y'all.
Hi, Aaron. What I'm learning is that this ceasefire has been mediated and, according to President Trump, also achieved through mediation of Qatar and the United States, two countries that have been in touch, close touch, before the U.S. entered this war. A day before this war started, there were meetings between U.S. and Qatari officials about the possibility of the U.S. joining this war. And those contacts continued all along the last 3 days. And today, when after the Iranian attack on the El Udeid base, Iranian officials sent a message to the White House through the Qataris saying, we're done. This is our response. We're not going to do anything further. The White House sent a message back through the Qataris. We are not, if you're done, we are not going to retaliate, and we want to talk. We want to now get a deal. In the hours since then, there were talks between the U.S. and Israel and Qatar and Iran to tie the final knots and agree on the final conditions of this ceasefire.
All right, and obviously all very significant developments. Paula, of course, all happening, as Barak is laying out, over several hours. We have not yet heard from the Israelis or the Iranians. Literally what we are hearing actually is explosions in Tehran right now that Fred is reporting.
So he said it himself. The ceasefire was real, but both sides agreed. But CNN wanted to brush that off and go back to the whole panic narrative. I'm telling y'all, when the facts do not fit their storyline, man, they just switch it up as quickly as they can. If the expert said the deal was solid, why is the media still spinning it like it's fiction? And then Jasmine Crockett, y'all. Jasmine Crockett jumps into this whole thing and somehow makes it about her.
To understand enough about the Constitution to the extent that I'm the one that's supposed to make a fucking decision or at least get a vote. Because Ron is telling me. Right. So literally, like.
In this clip, she never addresses the ceasefire. Not the timeline, not the missiles, not the 12-hour window. Instead, it's all about how offended she is. But offended by what? However, Trump fired back, and he did not hold back any names, y'all. I'm going to read this out. Yeah, and this caption comes from Benny Johnson. Holy smokes! President Trump just ended the careers of AOC Jasmine Crockett and Ilhan Omar in a single Truth Social post. It reads, prepare myself. Ooh, God be with me. Stupid AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the dumbest people in Congress, is now calling for my impeachment, despite the fact that the crooked and corrupt Democrats have already done that twice before. The reason for her rantings is all of the victories that the USA has had under the Trump administration. The Democrats aren't used to winning, and she can't stand the concept of our country being successful again. When we examine her test scores, we will find out that she's not qualified for office, but nevertheless, far more qualified than Crockett, who is seriously a low IQ individual, or Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country. Yet, the failed country that she comes from doesn't have any government, is drenched in crime and poverty, and is rated one of the worst in the world, if it's even rated at all. How dare, quote, the mouse, tell us how to run the United States of America? We're just now coming back from the radical left experiment with Sleepy Joe, Kamala, and the auto pen in charge. What a disaster it was. AOC should be forced to take the cognitive test that I just completed at Walter Reed Medical Center as part of my physical. As the doctor in charge said, President Trump aced it, meaning it got every answer right. Oh, he got every answer right, that is. I'm sorry. Instead of her constant complaining, Alexandria should go back home to Queens, where I was also brought up and straightened out her filthy, disgusting, crime-ridden streets in the district she represents. Y'all, I messed up a couple words, but y'all got it. I messed up straighten out her filthy, disgusting, crime-ridden streets in the district she represents, in which she never goes to anymore. Ooh, she better start worrying about her own primary before she thinks about beating our guest Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, whose career is definitely on very thin ice. She and her Democrat friends have just hit the lowest poll numbers in congressional history, so go ahead and try impeaching me again. Make my day. Man, my guy called out the squad. AOC, Ilhan, Jasmine, for twisting this global situation into personal drama. This wasn't about gender or race. It was about them ignoring the truth to push emotion over logic, which never works. Since when did being called out for lying become an attack on our women? Oh, don't take it like that now. Because even Caitlin Collins, I had to preface that because we're going to get ready to go to another one. Even Caitlin Collins tried to question if the ceasefire was real. But our own network confirmed it.
Now, we're hearing incredibly optimistic views coming out of the White House as far as how long this can hold and what this is going to look like. That obviously still remains to be seen on the implementation side of this, and waiting to see if the firing does stop and if Iran and Israel do both agree to this. Because, you know, speaking of the fluidity of the situation, it was just 24 hours ago that President Trump himself was suggesting a regime change in Iran was a possibility. And obviously right before that, having the United States strike Iran. And so, yes, there have been a lot of phone calls going back and forth. In part, this has to do with Iran's limited response earlier, where they fired on a U.S. base in Qatar, but there were no casualties. We know that they did give a heads up that they were going to be firing on U.S. bases without exactly specifying which ones. But that is the question here, is if the United States felt that it did not need to respond to the Iranian retaliation, did that create the space for this? That is what we've been hearing from administration officials. And so the question is whether or not this still holds for the next few hours.
Caitlin, I just been given word that Iran, according to a diplomat who briefed CNN, Iran has agreed to the ceasefire. So this is significant. I just want to try to learn some more information as soon as we get it about that. But if that is the case, that's incredibly significant, because that is, we were waiting. We had not heard from Iran. We had not heard from Israel. All we were going on so far has been the president's social media post, which was some 2 hours ago. So again, that is the first indication we have that Iran has agreed to this.
Y'all, they said the timing couldn't have been worse for Caitlin. She asked the question, but got shut down with facts. You can see it in her face. She wanted drama. And that answers And of course, the headlines went wild, all saying different things. One says Trump made peace. Why did I even do that? Y'all can barely see it, but one says Trump made peace. One says Trump caused the war. The next says confusion. Trump says Iran and Israel agreed to cease fire from Fox. This from CNN. On the verge of interesting retaliatory strikes. From MSNBS, Trump claims Israel and Iran reached ceasefire deal. Yeah, man, this is narrative building. If every outlet tells a different story, how do you know which one to trust? Meanwhile, I think I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. But meanwhile, Iran's own media said that they agreed to the ceasefire. Right here, Iran's foreign minister confirms that Iran has officially stopped offensive fire at Israel. So yes, CNN lied about ceasefire is in effect. CNN able to lie so hard all the time. This comes after they said Israel has not received any ceasefire proposal. Senior official says. This was reported obviously last night, y'all. Yeah, not a leak, not a rumor. Straight from Iranian state sources. But somehow that part didn't make it to the evening news in America, y'all. Then J.D. Vance dropped a whole statement. Well, he actually posted Trump's. Israel is not going to attack Iran. This was at 7:33 this morning. Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Shout out to Trump, man. Gunther says the GOAT has spoken. Yeah, man. What more do they want, though? That's diplomacy, but they won't give him that win. Seriously, though, what more do they want? And the icing on the cake, you got this guy laughing it off.
So the alleged president, Donald Trump, his ceasefire is much like his tariffs. On, off, on, off. Did you see Donald Trump get on TV and talk about what we have here is two countries that have been fighting so hard and so long, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Newsflash. No shit, man. And neither do you. Donald Trump fucking steps in it every goddamn day, several times a day. You cannot wipe the stench of shit off of this man. That's how often he fucking steps in it. We are definitely headed for mass chaos, mass war. This guy should not be at the helm of this great nation. The alleged president, Donald Trump, and all of his MAGA supporters don't have a goddamn clue. This is going to keep escalating and get much worse. I saw all the videos out there where they all, look, our Trump, President Trump, he brought us a ceasefire. What do you think of that, you liberals, you snowflakes? Peace through strength.
You salty.
It didn't even last 2 hours, and Israel was bombing Iran again. But yeah, keep thinking the alleged president, Donald Trump, is doing a great job.
Alleged.
Like, share, follow for more. This is Grim with Get the Rant. I will see you all in the next video.
Alleged. Wow. That was probably the most insulting part of this whole clip, him saying alleged. Did y'all see this? The media and people alike who watch him, they laughing at a man who just paused the war. Joke while missiles flew and then ignored their own experts. That's the playbook. If Trump wins, pretend it didn't happen. Look, man, Trump gave them 12 hours. He didn't guarantee what they do with it, but he opened the door. Okay? And instead of reporting that, the left is twisting this whole thing. This wasn't reckless. I believe it was effective the moment peace was on the table. They try to bury it in chaos. Why? Because they can't afford to let him win. They can't afford to let him win on something this big. It's not about liking Trump. It's about telling the truth. And right now, the truth is being treated like the enemy. Y'all be safe. Go check with somebody today. You can cry a little to be saving their life. Peace.